Look around you. The can holding your soda, the foil wrapping your food, the frame of the window you look out of. These everyday objects all share an invisible foundation: aluminum. Today, it is so ubiquitous that it's practically invisible. We use it and discard it without a second thought. But rewind just over a century, and aluminum wasn't disposable. It was a marvel. It was one of the most valuable substances on the planet. Legend has it that at the banquets of Napoleon III, Emperor of France, most guests ate with gold and silver cutlery. Only the absolute highest honored guests were given the luxury of eating with forks and spoons made of aluminum. It sounds absurd today. How did a metal fit for an emperor become the disposable wrapper of the modern world? The answer isn't about discovering a new continent, and it wasn't the result of mining a deeper vein. It's about a simple, frustrating engineering problem. The most abundant metal on Earth was everywhere, but humanity had absolutely no idea how to unlock it. Aluminum is not rare. It is the most abundant metal in Earth's crust. It is under our feet, in the dirt, the clay, and the mountains. Imagine standing on a mountain made almost entirely of aluminum ore, yet being completely unable to extract even a single spoonful of usable metal. That was the reality for centuries. So why was the 19th century elite paying fortunes for it? Unlike gold or silver, which can be found in their pure, elemental form in nature, aluminum is incredibly reactive. It binds tightly to other elements, specifically oxygen, hiding inside common rocks. For centuries, humans were walking over billions of tons of this metal, completely blind to its existence, and later, completely powerless to extract it. It wasn't a problem of scarcity, it was a problem of chemistry. Extracting it required breaking a chemical bond so strong that conventional smelting was entirely useless. The heat from a standard furnace simply wasn't enough to separate it. Whoever could solve this puzzle wouldn't just become wealthy, they would unlock an entirely new building block for human civilization. The first crack in the puzzle came in 1825. A Danish scientist named Hans Christian Ørsted managed to extract a tiny, impure lump of gray metal. It was entirely useless for practical application, but it proved a monumental concept. Aluminum was real, and it could be isolated. The engineering challenge immediately shifted. It was no longer a question of if it could be extracted, but how to do it at scale. Enter Henri-Étienne Saint-Clair de Ville, a French chemist who realized this wasn't just a science experiment, it was an industrial revolution waiting to happen. Through years of refining chemical processes, de Ville managed to produce enough of the metal to display at the 1855 Paris World Expo. Surrounded by the most advanced machinery of the era, crowds gathered to stare at a small, dull silver bar. To a 19th century mind, turning dirt into a lightweight metal was practically magic. This caught the attention of Napoleon III. He saw aluminum not just as a metal, but as a strategic asset. With the emperor's backing, aluminum achieved its legendary status. Its astronomical value wasn't derived from its natural rarity, but from the immense difficulty of its production. But there was a fatal flaw in de Ville's method. His chemical extraction relied on using other highly reactive materials, like sodium, which were themselves incredibly expensive to produce. He had successfully extracted aluminum, but the process was an economic dead end.
A metal that costs more than gold cannot build a modern world. For aluminum to be useful, it had to be cheap. The world needed a completely different approach, and in 1886 the solution arrived. And it arrived twice. In an incredible historical coincidence, two young men, Charles Martin Hall in the United States and Paul Héroult in France, independently invented the exact same process at the exact same time. They realized that chemistry alone wasn't the answer. The ultimate tool to break the stubborn bond of aluminum ore wasn't another chemical, it was a relatively new technology: electricity. They discovered that if aluminum oxide was dissolved in a specific molten mineral bath, a powerful electrical current could break it apart, allowing pure aluminum to be extracted efficiently. This became known as the Héroult process. It bypassed the need for expensive chemical catalysts and instead relied on raw electrical power. It was an elegant, scalable solution, and its fundamental process is still how we produce almost all of the world's aluminum today. The consequences were immediate and staggering. Production scaled up, and the price of aluminum collapsed. What was once kept in royal vaults was suddenly available for factories, cities, and ordinary people. Within a few decades, aluminum lost its status as a luxury good and became the workhorse of global industry. Because when humanity finally had access to cheap aluminum, they realized its true potential. It is a fraction of the weight of steel. It naturally resists corrosion. It conducts electricity highly efficiently, and it can be melted down and recycled using only 5% of the energy required to make it in the first place. Without aluminum, the modern electrical grid would be drastically heavier and more expensive. Skyscrapers would require significantly more structural support. The automotive industry would struggle with massive efficiency issues. But most importantly, without aluminum, modern aviation as we know it would be practically impossible. Flying requires a material that is exceptionally strong but incredibly light. For much of aviation's history, aluminum was the material that made large-scale flight practical. Today, we produce tens of millions of tons of aluminum every single year. It is in our phones, our laptops, our cars, and our planes. But the physical metal itself never changed. It was always there, locked in the dirt. What changed was human knowledge. Aluminum lost its immense value not because we found more of it, but because we figured out how to extract it. It leaves us with a fascinating question to consider about the world today. Throughout history, we have believed certain things will always remain scarce or impossibly expensive. But as the story of aluminum proves, value is often just a reflection of our current technological limits. What is the next aluminum? What material or technology do we value astronomically today simply because we haven't yet found the right process to unlock it? The next aluminum may already be all around us. Like aluminum once was, it might just be hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right idea to unlock it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.